Okay, now we're getting to the real nitty-gritty. That was just the warm-up. Number 6. What's that smell? Confunk. At big cons, I have been told that there's a horrible odor that occurs when thousands of unwashed otaku all hang out in one confined space. And let's be honest, otaku are notorious for staying at home all the time, being in their basement all the time, which is not all true, and so on. Many of them rave and work up an even greater sweat when they're dancing and jumping up and down and cosplaying. And sometimes when you're in those costumes for a long period of time, you will gather up a sweat. And guess what? It will affect you. And it will affect the con. And now, for the most part, we have avoided this problem because they've made a big deal about it. To make sure that you shower, bathe. If you get too sweaty, go outside, take a break, and so on. However, I rather like that smell, that weird smell of all that sweat, because it smells like a con. But I've been told at some cons it gets really bad. Like I've been told at I don't know the name of the con. It's not local if anybody's watching, but I was told at one either in Colorado or Washington. They said it got so bad in one room that it smelled like BO, not BM or BO, real bad. To the point that people were coughing and had to leave and so on. Like I said, when you have that much people in one room getting excited and getting up a sweat, and you would be surprised how much sweat you're going to sweat at an anime con. And so on. And that really increases the body temperature too. And increasing the body temperature affects someone else, which brings us to number 5, which is definitely hands down a local anime con tradition. 2 words. Fire alarm! This has been a local mishap at our local anime conventions, which is simply this. We have had several cons in a row, and it's almost tradition we have to have the fire alarm go off. One time, it went off solely because we had so many people inside the main events con that our body heat reached the ceiling to the point that the ceiling fire detectors said, "The ceiling's on fire!" Yep, the roof is on fire! And so on. Of course it wasn't, it was just the sensors being overly sensitive. Now, we also had 2 incidents where some a-holes pulled the fire alarm. The fire department was not happy. In fact, I believe at one con, the fire department showed up twice, and they were not happy. What was hilarious, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. I wish I had my camera with me when this happened, but this was so funny. Oh, I'm so mad I did not take a picture of this. When we evacuated from the con, and the fire department came, everybody's in costume. You have all these cosplayers outside evacuating the building, and the fire department comes in like, what the is going on? I mean, I should have seen the look on the fire chief's face. It's like, what's wrong with people? Who are all these freaks? What's going on? It was so cool. But yeah, we finally gotten a fix on that. We finally went 2 years in a row, no fire alarm. But in 04, 05, 06, oh crap, we had a lot of those happen. Tied with number 5, technical difficulties. Yeah, every con has to have at least one technical difficulty. Either events starting late. The number 1 technical difficulty is the microphone's not working. It'll take another 10 minutes to start. AMV's not starting on time. Everybody please stop staring at me. That wasn't my fault. My computer crashed. Everybody stop attacking me! Yes, I know it was my fault for the 2008 Anime Oasis AMV mishap. Yeah, it's almost a tradition to have some technical difficulties, but by far the biggest technical difficulty I ever saw was at a big con, or a medium-sized con, in Salt Lake, when it took them an hour to start the cosplays. An hour. Then, when they had the main event professional cosplay, it was terrible because the mics didn't work. I couldn't hear a goddamn thing they said. The only thing that worked audio-wise was these weird video clips they showed, and so on. I have also been told that some other weird funk has happened at other cons. So if the microphones don't work, or if events don't start on time, it's tradition, people. You got to get used to it. Every con, no matter how many times the small. I will say this, that I think the small cons are getting better at this than the local ones. But it's almost tradition, and no matter how many times we try to avoid it, it's still going to happen. Nowhere near as bad as it did in the early days, but still it happens. All right, number 4 is a personal one of mine that I also want to put in. This is going to be a bit of a complaint of mine, and I don't mean, I'm not scabbing at any particular anime con. This is just something I've noticed, and most people are going to say, dude, this isn't even that much of a problem. I think it is a problem. Number 4, Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! AKA Hangover Day. I'm sorry, but the lamest day to be at an anime con is Sunday. There's nothing to do Sunday. All the best events are done on Friday and Saturday, or in our local con's case, Thursday. All the fun stuff's over. AMVs are over. Main cosplays are over. Certain contests are over. Sunday's practically a hangout day. Now, some people are like, oh, well, that's cool. The hangout day is nice. Yeah, but come on. There's been some people I have seen buy a Sunday ticket, and I feel so sorry for them because all the good stuff's over. It's like buying a ticket to a movie and coming into the theater as the credits are playing. Now, sure, some people like the movie credits, but you just missed the movie. I call Sunday Hangover Day because Saturday night, and here's the best part, on Saturday night, it's party. Room parties, Saturday nights, after the main cosplays are over. They usually have hentai night, and if you're really lucky, you get to go back to your hotel room with a special someone and have your own little hentai cosplay, if you know what I mean. And then wake up the next morning and was like, oh, wow, I hope I remember production. But yeah, Sunday's hangover day. I remember being staff at a con on Sunday and just remember being so bored. Sure, there's Sunday's like card playing tournament day. Like the coolest thing on Sunday is battle cosplay. But other than that, there's nothing to do on a Sunday at a con. In fact, I'm not even going to lie to you. The past year and a half, the last time I ever stayed at a con on a Sunday was the last time I was staff, and that was in 2008. So for 3 years, I stopped staying for Sunday. And because I look at the schedule, there's, it's hangover day. I also want to put this as a complaint, and again, I will not be putting any specific con. But this is something to notice. And by the way, this is the big and medium cons that I've been to too. I haven't been to a big con yet, but I've been to some medium-sized cons. Bad scheduling of events, or this bugs the crap out of me. This just really bugs the crap out of me. Where they'll put two big events at the same time, like the AMV contest, but at the same time we're gonna have battle cosplay over here. Well, where do you think people are going to go? They're going to want to go to battle cosplay. But what if we have the AMV contest? Or what if you want to enter the battle cosplay, but you want to watch the AMVs? Or they're going to have the one-time panel with Vic Mignogna, but at the same time, we have to have the other cosplay event happen at the same time. Now that rarely happens. The time when the main event at any con is the main cosplay, and almost always there's nothing going on simultaneously on the schedule. But I have seen at other cons where there's something I want to go to, but there's something I'd like to also go to at the same time. And it's not going to happen again. So I have to pick and choose. But what drives me nuts is they crunch this on Saturday or something. And this goes back to my first point. Why can't they move some of that stuff to Sunday? Instead of cramping two things I really want to see or do. I understand that it is virtually impossible at any given con. It is virtually impossible to go to all the events at all of them because there are events and panels that happen at the same time. That is simply unavoidable. But there's sometimes some big ones that take place at the same time, and it bugs me. I'm just saying I would just mix up the scheduling just a little bit. Number 3. Big Con Bonanza. Lines, lines, lines. Okay, let's go back to that guy with the glass. Now, this is a big one for the big cons. This has not been that much of a problem for our local cons or regional cons, but this did happen to me once. The They're lines, and they definitely suck. At most big anime cons, they have extremely long lines. You'll have to have autographs to get lines for, autographs to see your favorite voice actor, autographs for the dealer's room, lines for this, lines for that. I remember the line for the AMV contest went out the frickin' door and almost all the way to Denny's. That was the longest con line I ever went to, and that was in Salt Lake. Uh, Other than that, the lines aren't that big a problem here. I have also want to make a big complaint to the big cons because I have talked to countless people who've gone to the big giant anime cons, and they have told me I've heard almost nothing but negative stuff about big cons. Although I haven't been to the super like Nandes Con or Chicago Con or Sakura Con, so I guess it'd be unfair to me to judge until I actually go. But I have been to larger size cons, and there was a lot more technical difficulties on there than I thought. One thing that shocked me about the biggest con I ever went to was that it was the polar opposite of the local cons here. What do I mean by that? What I mean is everything that we get right here, they get wrong over there. What they do right, we need to improve on. Their regular staff was amazing, like almost as if they were getting paid. They had advertisement everywhere. Half part of the con was paid by advertising. Yes, okay, I'm really pissing someone off because our local guys don't believe in advertising. They consider that selling out. I can understand, but money's money. That's just a weird complaint I have. Okay. Number 2. You're how old? Okay, forget I hit on you. Drop dead sexy girls under 18, aka jailbait. You know what will shock you at anime cons is that there's going to be a lot of these sexy girls wearing these really sexy anime outfits, practically showing their cleavage, their breasts, their butts, and they're 16. Yeah, there goes that. And that'll be awkward and embarrassing. To hit on that, and you know it's no secret. And now, thankfully, that has never happened to me. The youngest girl I have ever had sex with, and I'm proud to say this, was 18 by a month. And yes, she was an anime fan. Now, anime fans are full of hot, sexy girls wearing next to nothing, jumping around, giggling, flirting, and jumping around and bouncing. Too bad most of them are under 18. All of your hopes with a one-night stand with a cat girl are dashed when you realize that you could easily end up in jail afterwards. Sometimes these cons are like a diabetic in a candy store. Anime cons are full of tasty treats you can't have. However, it is also full of tasty treats that you can have. And the same thing goes for the girls, too. I've noticed there's a lot of young men going these days, too. A lot of the young men who look emo. I see a lot of the older chicks hitting on them, but they can't because that's the other way edge around. How to avoid them? If you're lucky, at some cons, they do have age-distinguished badges. Like they'll have a color on the badge. I think we have that for our cons, but for most of the time we can just tell. So that way you don't have to awkwardly ask. Best time is we have a lot of 18 and older panels, and you do have to bring your ID. And there's also adult cosplays and hentai night. And you'll know anybody in there is definitely of age. Now, I want to know this and tell this to you straight up, that yes, you can hook up at an anime con, and yes, you can get a relationship at an anime con. I'm telling you this right now. It happens, and look good for you and lucky for you if that happens. But if not, make sure that they're 18. Okay, and in my opinion, the number one bad thing about anime cons, the number one hazard you should look out for, doesn't even take place at the con. It's afterwards. Number 1, dot hack cough aka the con flu. This has happened to me several times, and this has happened to several people I know who go to cons. It's called the con plague or the con flu. It's a terrible sickness that follows any convention. Look, when you have a large group of people who may or may not already be carrying some horrible virus, gather together in one venue and then touch everything. Not to mention, remember I told you about sweating? Yeah, that's also emitting germs. It doesn't help that your immune system is getting shot because you've gotten less sleep, less nutrition, less hygiene. Most of you guys are living off of Pocky and Mountain Dew, so that's not healthy. And let's get something straight. By Sunday, or definitely Monday, you are coughing, got a sore throat, runny nose, or worse, you're actually sick. This happened to me in 2003 when I came back from Anime Oasis. I had strep throat for 2 weeks. I missed 2 weeks of work. It was nuts. I remember what week that was. That was when we went to war in Iraq. It was March 2003, so I'm sick watching MSNBC and Fox News. We've invaded and captured Saddam. We're gonna get Baghdad. Hooray! The most recently this happened was Anime Banzai. I came back and I think I had the swine flu because I really was out of it. I was sneezing entirely on the car ride back home. I had the sniffles. In fact, I think I left the con early because I was that sick. I was out of it. And I've met several other people who came back from the con. They had strep throat. Oh yeah, especially for me because I used to be the host for the Anime Con, so I'd be up on stage yelling and screaming. And yeah, I got a sore throat afterwards. And don't even mention the con chairman. I remember one con chairman, he went 3 days without sleep from the Anime Con, and he told me this. I'm not even making this up. I hope he's not watching. He said he hallucinated. Yeah, he had. And when you go 3 days without sleep, it gets so bad that even if you try to go to sleep, you can't because it hurts so bad. Solution: get some friggin' rest when you're at the con. I know you're excited and you will stay up a lot. That's a fact. But if you bought a hotel room, use the hotel room. You need to sleep. Get at least 5 to 6 hours, and so on. I guarantee, if you stay awake throughout the entire con, you are going to get ill. No question about it. Another thing you could do, you know, it has saved me because the past year and a half, because I was actually bragging when I came back from Reno. Hey, I broke the curse. We came back from the Reno Anime Con and I didn't get sick. And the same thing happened at some other cons I came back from. I, again, did not get sick. And I tried this product. Airborne. Get some Airborne. Trust me, I don't know why, but it works. Ever since I've used Airborne at Anime Cons, I haven't gotten sick since. But I guarantee you, the con flu is real. It is very real, my friends. I have gotten it several times. But thankfully, I haven't gotten it since the Salt Lake Con. So now, that's my list. Hopefully you guys took this. Please don't let this discourage you from going to cons. That's not what the point of the list was. The point of the list was just things to look out for and to avoid, and better suggestions for anime cons, and hopefully I didn't upset or offend anyone for that. So this is Goku 50 signing off.